Hi, Josh.
I don't believe anything.
Welcome back to the Drexel Free Thought Society Weekly Podcast. This week we are discussing atheist monuments and... Okay, so this week we're discussing everything and sometimes atheist monuments. Before we were talking about a lot of cool stuff, but this time is the chat portion, which is where we especially invite you guys to join in and talk to us. You can email us at drexfreethought@gmail.com. You can call us at Drexel Free Thought at our Skype. Just call Drexel Free Thought. We'll pick up. You'll be able to discuss with us. Tell us what you think, what you hate, what you love. It doesn't matter. You can also follow us on Facebook, message there. You can also message us live on our Spreaker, which is what you'd have to be listening to right now if you hear anything you were saying. Unless you're watching it on YouTube, in which go back to that part where I said which Gmail you should email. Okay, back into it. Talk about things while I set up the Skype.
How centipedes and silverfish are not the same.
But people think that?
I don't even know.
Yeah, actually I had a debate with that.
How's that debate? They're different species.
I'll tell you about that later, because I don't want to deviate too far from the topic. It's an interesting conversation.
It's so random.
Especially me being aspiring biologist. But in any case, atheist monuments. I kind of want to segue slightly off the monument itself, because I think we kind of talked about it as much as we could, and I want to kind of go into these atheist symbols, maybe. Like, for example, people find the quote unquote Darwin fish or atheist fish offensive, because they're like, yeah, they took it from the Jesus fish and they stuck Darwin or atheist in it, and that's wrong. They're mocking Christianity. Like, there's even atheists who think that's offensive, that we are quote unquote stealing symbols. So what do you guys think about that?
What's kind of amusing is our little symbol is a deviation of the Darwin fish, which is fun.
Yeah,
if you guys notice, if you kind of notice, that's what ours is. But I'll just destroy this in 2 seconds. So if you want to go before me, go for it.
No, go ahead.
It was stolen. That actually is a symbol for the womanly area. If you turn it the other way, it's not actually a fish. I
heard about that.
It's a vagina.
I heard about that. I just never really confirmed it.
Congratulations, Christians. Your favorite symbol is a vagina.
So what they
vagina.
So where did the vagina symbol itself come from? Was it like from an?
It's like I think it's an old. I want to say Celtic, but I'm probably not saying the right one. It's an old world symbol. All it's supposed to represent is fertility, because anything having to do with an open hole means fertility.
So basically, what they did was they took a symbol from another culture, made it and integrated it into their own culture, claimed that it was theirs, and then when other groups parodied it in some ways, they claimed thief.
It's basically like me stealing your wallet. Somebody steals it from me, and then I bitch about thievery.
Oh, yeah, I find
much.
it hilarious how some Christians say, "Get the Christ back in Christian." We have to only have Christians celebrating Christmas, when Christmas in itself was a pagan holiday.
Saturnalia.
And the funny thing is that that entire holiday in the first place was about celebrating and getting drunk.
It was a party. It was celebrating the human experience.
It was a party, and
probably, from all the copious amounts of sex with various genders and ages, I probably wouldn't have included myself in such a celebration. Anywho,
and I mean, where do you think we even came up with Santa Claus? Santa Claus was a real person, but he wasn't named Santa Claus. He was named Saint Nicholas, and he was a saint in the Catholic Church that went around and gave a few people, not every single person in the town or anything, but a few people gifts for coming to church.
Folk stories getting butchered and turned into other stories.
And it was butchered to the point where in the 1950s, Santa Claus was actually created within the United States as a figure of a jolly old fat man in a red suit with a long white beard going around the entire world giving people gifts. And the funny thing is that was actually an ad campaign for Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know there was one, But originally he was kind of like an elf character.
I see.
Like I have a really old story of him, and he has pointed ears, he has the button nose, and he's like 4 feet tall.
Oh, that might have happened before the 1950s. They evolved over time. And what do you think he is now? He's basically pretty much the same person that he was during the ad campaign of Coca-Cola. Because what do you see nowadays? You say that Santa Claus is going to come to every little boy and girl instead of the Gentile girls and the Gentile boys, as it said in those old cartoons we used to watch as children. Now it says everybody. Now, the funny thing is that Santa Claus is no longer just for Christians. It's not even for kids Christians, anymore. It's for atheists.
But the thing
for everyone.
This is a common theme among. I'm just picking on Christians like crazy today, but you're crazy. So what you gonna do? All right, that's not fair. Not all Christians are crazy. The religion is. Anyway, the idea is a way to kind of vie for power in different countries is just basically assimilate their culture and just make it your own. It's kind of how like the Celtic cross was made. It was they took old symbols and then just made them theirs. Easter. That was an easy one. Where did the Easter Bunny? I don't know if this is entirely true, but there is an old goddess who's
the old goddess of fertility,
and like her symbols are eggs and rabbits because rabbits breed like rabbits, and eggs are the like universal symbol of fertility, obviously. So they just kind of assimilated it, claimed it as their own, and no one cares or notices.
And it ruins biology because people think that rabbits actually lay eggs.
The same thing, it's funny because you could say the same thing about way back with Christmas. Not Santa Claus. Christmas was actually I said that before.
But it's true, and it's like it was just co-opted as a way, like... the actual quote unquote biblical scholars mark Jesus' birthday like somewhere in April or something.
August.
It was not at all during the 25th of December.
Oh, by the way,
but
they
chose the 25th of December as the Jesus' birthday so that they would be able to claim the winter area as their holiday. So they could stop Saturday Night Live from happening.
And for the stars that actually were in the sky during the time period of when they...
It's a fairly conclusive that he was not born during the winter.
It's also fairly conclusive that even if Jesus exists, or what it did exist, we don't even know because the Bible itself is...
it's unreliable.
Written over and over and over again throughout time periods and... Actually, way back when, if you were caught reading the Bible, then you would get in trouble because you weren't allowed to read the Bible because most people weren't even able to do that.
Probably one of my favorite little things that, of course, everything I say, take for scrutiny. Scrutinize the hell out of it. When the printing press was invented in Europe, like a few hundred years after the Chinese invented one, well, a few hundred years after the Chinese made one, the religious folk condemned it as the work of the devil.
Oh my god.
Because they're the only ones that knew how to read and write, and they wanted to keep it that way.
And now you can find Bibles everywhere.
And they're translated.
And they're still trying to condemn people for learning. Because it's easier to control people and get all their money if they're stupid.
Televangelists.
No, I'm saying people that change the laws to make people stupid.
Oh, well, that too.
Politicians?
Yeah.
Politicians and television.
Not all politicians. There are honorable ones there, and man, I want them to be all presidents at the same time.
Like Wiener.
I honestly don't know them by name, but I've seen a couple politicians, very low-level people in various committees, or a few people in Congress that I'm just like... Good job, man.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's congressman actually is not bad. Robert Brady. You know, he like a lot of the things that we're against, he's pretty much against too. I mean, so he says. I mean, I'm just.
No, I know there's a chance of just pandering, but it's the more candid you are, the more I trust you. Honestly, like speechwriters kind of ruin politics for me. Because they make every single politician as plastic as physically possible. And not the good kind of malleable plastic. The kind that, like, Ken dolls are made out of.
Well, they kind of are malleable plastic in some ways.
Yeah, they're malleable by their writers.
And by the people that actually are in the banks and stuff.
Oh,
But,
I got a question to bring it home. So we've already established this this atheist monument thing. Now, do you think it would be necessary at all for any other courthouse or any kind of park building to post an atheist monument in any shape or form? Is it actually necessary?
No, like I really like the some of the more poignant things that the monument said, like completely discrediting everything that the other monument said in the most basic language possible, the language of the book itself. I think that is useful to kind of say, like, this is what actually is believed by these crazy people. I keep saying that. I apologize. Not all Christians are crazy. They just believe
The crazy
things.
Christians, not...
No, I'm just saying, no, the monument is crazy. The book is crazy. If you believe the book is true, it's crazy.
the idea is crazy, not the individual.
Yeah, the individuals are most likely deluded or ignorant, which is not a crime. And it's not quite pity. Like, pity is way too demeaning. I understand the desire to believe in that sort of stuff. I just really don't recommend it.
But it would be. But is it necessary not to create atheist monuments, even if there are no Ten Commandments?
I heard a technique that is probably going on is that they're opening the door so that basically every religion everywhere could demand a monument.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's a really good idea, actually.
I think it's terrible.
I
don't think that much money should be wasted on nothing.
Well, I think it's a funny idea if you think about it, because next time you go over there'll be so many opinions. It'll be like the internet, except...
And then people, Google want to put up a monument, just be ads, basically.
Can you imagine?
Just have that on there, and everything will be...
No, I really want to read... Like, I recommend the internet people read that particular change in procedure of how you decide what monuments we put up. Because if it can be worded in such a way that individuals could put up monuments, then I recommend that everyone in that district puts up their own monument. Pay $10 and have a monument put up. Make sure that it's shown how completely ridiculous it is to put up privately funded monuments on public land. It's stupid. It's not cool, and it doesn't help anyone, and it doesn't really do anything. The only reason that thing is even there anymore is pretty much to stick it to people. To say, like, look, this is... And I'm not saying the atheist one isn't either. Obviously, the atheist one is there to basically show, like, that one over there is ridiculous, and this is why.
And then eventually we're going to have so many other ones saying, that one, that one, that one, and that one.
No, I know.
And that was my biggest worry, actually. Like, what if there was a town, like let's just create a hypothetical town where there's a lot of religious diversity. There's a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Hindus, there's a lot of Christians, so on and so forth. And, you start off with the 10 Commandments. All of a sudden, the atheists put up theirs, and the Buddhists go, well, wait, here's my ideas to put a monument there. And then the Mormons go, like, wait a minute, well, here's our ideas, let's put this here. I mean,
it's just, like...
It's viral.
I understand the need to fight these battles, because it is one of the things, like, there's been a lot of talk about, like, why in the world do we care at all about 10 Commandments monuments being in public ground? It doesn't do anything. Like, it's not denying people rights or anything.
Yeah.
But the problem is people use it as justification to do terrible things. I don't remember exactly, but people have, like, pointed to them and say that's why we're a Christian nation. And this is why we're not. So we need to make that very clear and stop this lie.
I personally, I believe that those Christians should have every right. Yeah, it's public land. Maybe they shouldn't have rights to put it on public land, but they should have rights to put it on privately owned land, just as everybody else. But it gets to a point where it's like, if you're going to say, oh, there's a cross up there commemorating some Christian soldier, let's bring it down. No, that's ridiculous. That soldier was Christian, so therefore you would want a cross up there.
This is never
that's
never about
literally...
private land.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever heard any atheist group go, like, oh, this person has a cross above their kitchen in their house. That means we gotta take that down.
If it's public land, nothing should be there. Not even Atheist Monument. Nothing.
I know.
Absolutely nothing.
No, I think permanent things should not be done. But I think if like a community wants to put up a Christmas tree or lights in the middle of a public square, if it's funded privately, whatever.
But that's the same thing with that monument that came up. It's just like saying, oh, put this down, so therefore you're actually giving that idea more power. Because you're saying, oh, that idea was bashed and it was brought down. We should wonder why.
People have done this before. Different districts or towns or whatever you call them, counties. Mm-hmm. They've had like a draw, effectively. A randomly selected draw of a certain number of things that we put up each year. And you basically sign up to be put in the lot, and I think that's fine.
I don't see any problem.
Then everyone has the same general chance. The problem is in certain counties there's like 2 atheist groups and 800 churches.
Numbers.
So it will basically always be crucifix is getting put up in the public square.
Well, I mean, I literally see no really big deal about this. It's not like you're gonna like say, oh, there's a cross. Now I have to believe in Jesus or anything else like that. It's like you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. If you have an atheist thing there, if you have Vishnu on there, or
dude, I would love to have
Jesus
Vishnu put up in a public
something.
square.
Who
that'd
cares?
be wicked.
I mean, seriously, who cares? It's not
Vishnu?
like anyone's.
I'll put it.
I would love Vishnu or Shiva. That'd be awesome looking.
That's scary. Shiva's scary looking.
I know. That would be so cool.
Oh gosh.
I mean, seriously, it's like, who cares? I mean, it's sort of like the whole conspiracy theory thing. There's conspiracy theorists up online. There's Glenn Beck, and people are saying, "Oh, let's get him off the air. Get him off the air." Why? Why get him off the air? People know he's crazy. They're ignoring him.
But this is it's not quite a slippery slope yet, but it's been I don't know. Public land is a difficult thing because technically it belongs to the public, so why can't the public use it?
Yeah.
So that's like a really simple argument against this.
Well, if
this
it's
notion.
public land, that means that land belongs to everybody, not just one specific group.
I know, but that's the thing. Is like, how do you draw the line? Like, does each individual have right to the land an equal amount of time each year?
I would say yeah.
So like, if you live in a city of like 200 million.
That's a big city.
Okay, 1 million people in a city.
Philadelphia.
Then you have, like, what do you do?
Just let everybody.
Each person has
free reign.
Has 28 seconds a year.
As long as if you
and I'm being generous,
you have free reign to put on whatever you want.
Well, realistically, no.
We could do this math really fast. It's like amount of public land in square feet, amount of time in the year, and then individuals. It's like each individual will have 1 square inch for 3 minutes every year.
I don't think all 1 million people are going to even have the motivation to put up a monument or a statue or anything.
Well, that's actually
not to mention there's more than one. As far as I know, more than one area of public land. So, I think it would even out somehow. It would just.
I don't know. I seem to still just be in the boat of just don't do anything.
Should create
leave public land as a nice, natural, neutral place where people can just wander through and be happy.
Nothing permanent.
No, like give a Bible study class. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Get a blanket and study the Quran.
Yeah, I say have a sign and say, hey, we're doing this. If you want to join us, fine. If not, fine. And go about your business.
Well, is public land actually owned by the government itself?
In some cases it is.
It's funded by the government, which means it's funded by everyone in the city. So it's kind of like taxes pay for the upkeep, and they pay for like services that need to be done for reconstruction, for all this sort of stuff. There's a big thing with what it means, but it generally means that people that pay taxes on their like home, and I think it's mostly your home, go to things that have to do with the city.
Well, the thing is that if you're paying your taxes towards it, everybody pays a certain amount of taxes. for that land. So let's say you paid $50 towards that particular land each year. $50. You have $50 to spend on that land.
No, you don't.
Whatever you want to do.
Richard,
you have only $50.
There's still rules you gotta buy.
It's like, that is kind of funny though. Could you like save it? Could you not do anything for like 30 years? And then be like, now I can put a gleaming golden bust of my face over the entire park.
That'd be awesome.
So try and lift Blue for a head or something.
The kids can play on it.
Put a giant statue of Cthulhu.
But I don't know. I'm still in the game of make it nice, make it have trees. Like a park especially. Put trees in it, put fountains in it, allow people to ride their bikes. Leave it alone. It's not a place to proselytize anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I say about all public areas.
I would still put up an Albert Wesker statue in the middle of the park.
Because you just need to terrify me all the time, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. But I see your point. I mean, my thing is, think about how much these statues and these sculptures and things really cost. These different things that proselytize cost thousands of dollars. Like you said, $22,000 for that rock. Money that could be better spent on something else, especially for cities like Detroit, who's in a lot of turmoil right now. Chicago, who is really in turmoil.
Like Florida's not doing fantastic.
Yeah, Florida just has bad, publicity right now. Period. And Philadelphia is almost nothing good being said about Philadelphia. A lot of these cities need all the money they can get to fix their problems. And the last thing we need to be doing is fighting a war, trying to put up statues and monuments about stuff that we could easily put in our local paper, which will cost less, or little public meetings we can do, which will cost very little money.
It's like that's why I really want to know how much the internet people, if anyone wants to send it to us, go for it. But it's like how much theirs cost.
Yeah,
because it was made of granite and it was lighter and not like crazy good looking.
Granite's still pretty tough though.
I know. I'm just saying, like, hopefully it was less. But at the same time, I understand the need to do it, even if I don't particularly agree with it.
They were trying to prove a point.
Yeah, and it's important to prove points. I just really hope we don't have to keep doing it.
Yeah, we don't need a whole land full of statues.
If nothing else, let's create a specific business for this. Atheist monuments. They'll just be a random miscellaneous rock that is just chiseled into.
Yeah, that will cost less.
And then it's like, this was $8. Here we go. Put it in the town square.
Yeah, there's just. Like I'm not saying that the atheist sculpture was in any way immoral or anything. And again, I don't know how much.
But the thing I enjoy about it is it's reactionary.
Yeah,
which is exactly what atheistic groups should be.
It wasn't like they just went up here and said, "Well, this whole country's full of dumb Christians. Let's just show our atheism." Bam! Here's $32,000 full of stone that says atheists are awesome. Like, I'm glad they didn't do any of that nonsense.
The most they said was just that atheists are, as a matter of fact, not evil.
Yeah, and again, it's sad that we even have to do that. It's really sad that we even have to put that on a freaking stone to tell people that, hey, people who don't believe in God can actually do good things. It's ridiculous. I'm going to sound like a jerk right now, but a lot of these religious things that's going on cost too much money. It costs too much controversy. Sometimes when that controversy comes around, it costs money to sit here and educate people on things they can easily just look up on their own. Actually, they don't have to look it up. They can just observe people, actually watching atheists to see what they do. And stop making all these bizarre confirmations off of one person. Why not watch, make friends with some atheists and see how they act. I have plenty of Christian friends and they all act differently. It's amazing. I have some Muslim friends. Like, for example, Aksa acts way different from my friend Aja, who is also a Muslim, but two totally different people, especially how they partake in their religion. So, but I don't form one opinion of Islam off of Aksa or off of Aja. So
I see. The one way I would have to disagree with your lovely assessment is kind of like what I've been saying offhand in the night, actually, is most Christians are perfectly reasonable people about pretty much everything. But the thing is, the book they happen to believe in is crazy. It's contradictory. It's pretty much evil.
Oh, no, I'm agreeing.
And when Christians talk about the Bible in such an confident and I don't know, aggressive, not really aggressive. Assertive is a good word. In such an assertive way, then they are acting crazy.
In that particular moment.
And yeah, so I don't really know what to say. The same thing you said for pretty much any religion, because it's to be a religion, you basically it can't entirely be rationally sound.
I think what we really need to do is not focus on an atheist or a Christian or a Muslim or anything. We just need to focus on what the idea is in general and focus on the individual person who they are. I'm an atheist, but I believe really certain things that Dante doesn't, that David doesn't.
And we're all
atheists.
We're different in
we just have one thing in common.
We also don't have a dogma.
We just have one thing in common. We don't believe in God.
Well, I'm sure we have other things in common.
When it comes with atheism.
But we don't possess that dogma when it comes to a deity. We don't even possess a deity at all. So.
And guess what? To most people who think that all atheists are, a-holes, we're not a-holes. Like, all three of us as individuals are not a-holes.
I kind of am.
I can be.
Okay,
but that's mostly because I'm extremely blunt.
But it has nothing to do with my lack of God, because I can find just as many Christians and Muslims who are bigger a-holes than I am.
Okay, I am.
Believe me, a-holism isn't regulated.
But the thing is, I do like where you're going with that, because it kind of stretches into the question of God existing or not really shouldn't be that big of a deal as it is. Except for, I'm just going to go on a personal level, except for, leading this group, which kind of does take a bit of my time, being an atheist doesn't really impact my day-to-day life at all.
No. It should.
We talked about this before, it's just when you're, a religious person, you have to, I know most people don't, but to follow a lot of the tenets, you have to go to church, you have to pray a lot, you have to study your Bible, you have to do all these things, and other religions are even harsher about this. And I and us in general don't. The most that I've actually done is get into a few arguments on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've joined in conversations in various groups for a lot of other things, but most of it isn't really atheism. It's mostly humanism.
Some people have a problem with that. Eric Hovind doesn't like humanism, which is weird.
Well, because it's equated with atheism.
Yes.
And I question everything, which means I'm a free thinker.
Which means you're evil.
I mean, I'll put it to you like this. I actually had somebody ask me, because they never really encountered an atheist too much. The person actually asked me, why is an atheist? Says, you don't believe in God. Well, what do you do? And I just go, I just live.
It's I go to work, I eat I eat tacos.
My beliefs or lack of belief do not consume my time at all. They do not have any real impact. Me not believing in God has no real impact in my life, other than the occasional Facebook argument, like you said, or
that's the one thing that I keep telling everyone about this group is that we are reactionary. The only time where atheism really comes into play is when suddenly there's a Christian group who's denying gay folk their, for lack of a better term, God-given rights. I use quotation marks. But those sort of situations is where we kind of flare up. But again, it's not really because it's they're saying that a God says this. I don't believe in a God, therefore I disagree. It's more most of the time they're saying those homosexual people are just like us. They should have the same rights as us.
Is that everybody? It seems like people, especially on YouTube, there's a lot of what I said earlier, the trendy atheists. I don't even know if they don't believe in God or not, but you have this thing where, I'm going to use Justin Bieber as an example. A lot of people hate Justin Bieber and probably have never even heard any of his songs. They're just hey, Justin Bieber bashing is fun. Let's just bash Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber sucks. and they can't really come up with a good reason other than, hey, that cool person on YouTube that has like a million subscribers says that Justin Bieber sucks, so therefore Justin Bieber sucks. You have some people who claim to be atheists. Maybe they are atheists, but now they think that, hey, let's just, bash God and religious people and crosses every chance we get. This is awesome. This is cool. Yeah, kill Christians. And it's just like, dude, no, it's not. I'm not going to say it's cool to be atheist. I mean, whether you think so or not, but it shouldn't be a trend. It should be something this is just how you are. You just don't believe in God. End of story.
Like, all atheism means is at some point in your life you came to the conclusion that you no longer or have never believed that a God exists.
And that's it.
This goes back to the ridiculousness of the term, the fact that we even need a word for this.
Yeah.
It's effectively deciding that we don't believe in other people's imaginary friend anymore.
That's offensive. How dare you say that?
Free thinking club.
And I actually,
I'm the president. I can do what I want.
I actually think it's pretty funny how most people, when it comes to religion, we still have to go by these terms. But in politics, everyone's dropping every single whatever it may be, label, whatever it may be.
I can't stand politics because
They'd be like,
of their overuse.
I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Libertarian, I have my own ideas, I'm nothing, I'm whatever.
You're a Richard. You're a Richardarian.
Yeah, see, this is why I detest pretty much all labeling. Like, even the most basic ones. Like, the ones that everyone kind of just thought, like, was concrete and then written in dirt.
Like race.
Like race, gender.
I can't stand race.
It's like race, genders, sexual orientation. Pretty much everything is so freaking fluid. I think the only thing I could say with, like, really good certainty is I am a matter-of-fact human. That's basically it. I can't say anything else. Everything else is just so...
I mean, it's just... People just try to simplify things, but the problem is then you have that political correctness thing that seeps in.
But just to interrupt real quick, that need to simplify things is what causes a whole lot of problems. I think you're kind of going into that, sorry.
Yeah, a little... Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, I see it as a convenience, but at the same time, it's like we get so dogmatic with these terms. Like a lot of these terms, like, being straight or being homosexual, like, I mean, like, for example, I identify as, being straight. I don't, imagine being with men or anything, but, at the same time, it's like, never know.
It's like put this sticker on the spectrum, like, of where you are on the heterosexual, homosexual spectrum.
Yeah, you can't really quantify it.
I
can't really do that. It's a blanket term that even within that term, you can kind of modify it.
Yeah, are you, like, heteronormative? Are you, that's why I'm just, if I saw the chart and people putting stickers on it, I just walk over, tear it off the wall, and just go, screw this nonsense, just if you find someone you like, go for it.
That reminds me...
It doesn't matter.
That reminds me...
No, like, just a second. It's, like, two things. Just to go more into that, if you like a person, go for it. And if you happen to like another person, ask the first person, and then you like two people. Congratulations. It doesn't matter. Stop going with the freaking
I'm a little bit Democrat,
things.
but I'm very Republican. Again, and I'm more
it's just
dumb
so
labels.
pointless.
More dumb
But
labels.
this goes back to the whole, like, intellectual laziness. We could have this conversation with every single person to figure out what they actually believe and think. But it's much easier to label them a liberal atheist homosexual Jew.
Yeah.
And then that's not what I am. I just kind of strung words together. But it's just dumb. If you want to know something about me, this happens in the Cynics Den. The Cynics Den's a group that Dante runs. It's on Facebook. It's excellent. I highly recommend it. But it comes up all the time. People, like, when I get into arguments with people, which I do very often.
Which is kind of funny.
People always say, like, oh, if you have kids, they're going to be all disobedient and horrible. Or, if I met you, you'd probably just run away like a little coward. And it's just like, how do you come up with these ideas about me? You literally know. I always go with, like, 4 as my go-to number. It's like, you know just about 4 things about me. The rest of the things about me are things that I've been asking questions, and that's it. You know that I'm, like, from this conversation today, you know that I'm an atheist, that I'm human, And that's literally it. I gave no other information.
You have a deep voice.
Yes, but that doesn't. I'm also the president of this group. My name is David McDevitt.
Okay, so it's 4 things.
Yeah, you see, I gave you 4 bits of information. To assume anything else about me is intellectually disingenuous.
You can talk.
Shut up, Richard.
Okay, that's fine. Gotcha.
But that's what I mean. It's like no one knows my political views, no one knows my sexual orientation, no one knows my race.
And again,
like,
that stuff's fluid. Like
it's like none of it matters at all.
No, not at all.
Go by what I actually think, feel, and say, and do. But you can't really see my actions through the radio.
I think it all goes down towards identity. Most people like to identify themselves as something. I mean, of course, I've fallen victim to this all the time.
Oh,
when
everyone
it comes
does.
To,
I do too. No.
We all do.
I mean, when it comes to politics, I say, oh, now I'm a libertarian when I have other views that are not libertarian at all.
That's why I always just ask people. It's like, oh, what are you, Republican or Democrat? What are you, gay or straight? I'll just be like, ask me an actual question.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the phrase atheism because it's just kind of dumb. But I do like the fact that all it is an answer to a single question.
So I don't really consider it a label. It's just it's a label
the same thing,
somewhere, but you can't really quantify it.
It's kind of like saying the label of son or daughter. All it is the answer to a single question. Are you or are you not the byproduct of these two people canoodling?
Well, you can also go into the whole like gender thing because then there's in India there's several different I think it's India there's several.
Oh, there's a bunch of different cultures that have different. Yeah. There's neutral is a perfectly valid gender.
Yeah.
None is a perfectly valid. That's why I don't like gender especially because
it's very cultural.
It's so much cultural that so many things are expected of people that it just makes expectations ridiculous. It's pointless.
Here's what I do. Like I have my own opinion, like opinionated labels, but at the same time I recognize that they're really arbitrary and it just kind of classifies things for me really simple.
Hey Dante, be a man.
Yeah, I hate that. What does that mean?
Hey Richard, make me a sandwich. Be a woman.
Like what
it's like this is the most stupid phrases.
It's co-opting nonsense.
What kind of sandwich
I simplify things. Like for example, I see a woman down the street. I was like, okay, that's as far as I know, that's a woman. As far as appearance, she's a stereotypical woman. I just don't say stereotype after every time because I would hope that people would realize that. I do know that there's different gender qualifications, blah blah blah, that people come up with. They're very arbitrary. You can't really pinpoint them on a graph. And even then, the graph will be wrong because people interpret it different ways.
Well, and that's
why it's so exhausting.
Yeah,
and I think the reason it's so exhausting is that's why people start going for just the easy labels. It's like you're a dude, I'm a dude. That girl over there's a chick. Yep, done here. Now I don't have to ask anyone any questions, and I can assume everything I want about them.
Thing is, anytime I do make an assumption, and because I'm human, I am going to make assumptions. I always leave it up to scrutiny. Wow, that person wasn't as feminine or masculine or whatever as I thought they were. Okay, cool.
And
whatever. I don't have a name for that, but okay.
It's fine to. I think it's okay to go into a situation with. It's not like I'm going to use the worst phrase, preconceived notions. But that's okay as long as they can be instantly changed with different information.
Oh yeah.
That's why, I'm just gonna make it a make-believe scenario. Say I see a person in a dress, tying their shoe or something, and I run into them by accident, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm very sorry, ma'am," and they stand up and it's actually a dude in a dress. I would just be like, "Oh, I apologize. I did not realize that you were a guy in a dress." Or I probably would say it a little nicer than that. Yeah. But you know what I mean. It's like, oh, I'm sorry I called you ma'am. Or do you go by ma'am? And I would have a conversation. It's so much nicer and more personal.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I probably would have just said, I apologize.
It's safe. You didn't call it anything.
No, it's not that it's safe. It's just that nothing else needs to be said. It's I bumped into someone, I did something mildly rude, and I apologize. If I called them some label that I was trying to use to be polite, then okay. If it's wrong, then I'll apologize. It's sort of like if I say a black person's African American and they're from Cuba. I would just say like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Cuban."
And I'm slowly trying to work
It
that.
doesn't matter.
I'm slowly trying to work that mental programming on my brain about even considering myself black. Honestly, Morgan Freeman had a really good conversation back in 2005.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, I adored that.
Although the only problem is he kind of contradicted himself years later.
Oh, well, that happens.
Yeah, but like because he
That's
was
the thing is,
talking about the whole Obama thing. But the thing is, when you talk about certain things like politics, which in the case he was talking about politics, it's like we are programmed to react to certain topics in certain ways where we forget what we said about something else. Like, for example, he was talking about the whole Black History Month thing. He was like, yeah, now I'm going to stop considering you a white man. You're going to stop considering me a black man. That was great and all. But then when he got into the politics, different. Black History Month, we were just talking about holiday stuff, then he got into politics. And then, the whole thing with Obama and people trying to keep him out of office and blah, blah, blah. He kind of forgot that...
Oh, that's fine. It doesn't negate the value of what he said.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
But if he changed his mind, fine. It's years later. You're allowed to change your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I do like the idea, though. It's just like, how about we stop rewarding and punishing people just for their differences?
That's what I think. I actually.
I really hope that gets quoted later.
We stop talking about the Atheist Monument, guys. There's only so much we can say about it.
I actually.
They're neat, but probably pointless. That's my opinion.
I actually find it kind
Except
of...
they have points also. Sorry, Richard.
I'm sorry. I find it kind of ridiculous of certain laws that we make up to like say, hey, you're this race, so therefore you get this job easier, or hey, you're this race, so you don't get this job easier. It's like what's that one called?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action. I think it's ridiculous. If you have enough experience in this sort of thing, no matter your race or your gender or your religion or whatever it may be, that person can hire you no matter what.
Do you know what I always find funny?
What?
The organizations that are kind of not as reputable jobs don't have affirmative action.
Really?
Yeah, like janitorial staff or most
of them are black here.
I'm trying to think of other groups, but it's just like they don't care because you don't need to be fair to people if it's a bad job.
It is fair though. Not saying that it's fair to say I don't care about your gender. All I care about is can you do the job.
That's it. I also want to be very clear that I highly respect janitors as long as they do a good job and are nice people.
I think janitors are fine. Just like the people on cashiers. I've actually been a cashier for a little bit of time, but I really highly respect those people. Most people go up to them and they treat them like,
Well, it's their fault that they're stupid? Or it's their fault that this customer is stupid?
Well, it's
like, why don't you scan this food? I'm sorry, the label is ripped.
It's stupid because...
Get me another one.
It's stupid because you have these people walking into a dollar store, like my girlfriend said, like they walk in a dollar store and they're like, how much is this? And she'll say, oh, $1. And then they'll get angry at her because they're not doing she's not checking them out fast enough. And she's been there for 7 hours straight trying to deal with all these crazy people. They think they're better because they have a high level position in a company and they're CFO or IT CIO or something. It doesn't matter.
That's why I would love to actually be in a position where effectively I could be fired. And I wouldn't care, effectively getting a job for my own benefit and not really for money. So then I would be a cashier for a couple months just to see how it is. And I would just be able to go you're an awful person, get out of my store.
So, this is how it had
I would adore being able to do that.
That should be the actual thing. If those people are wrong, you should say, get them out, get out. You should be able to have that idea.
You need to be a popular enough store that you wouldn't get in trouble for that.
Yeah, perception is everything, and popularity and clout.
But that would just be, I would love it so much.
But here's an idea. Say if I open up a video game store, and as most of us know, that the video game industry is mostly
20 seconds to finish the story.
Okay, is mostly men dominated, and if somebody came up to me and asked, "Hey, how come you don't have a whole bunch of female workers?" I have to be like, "Because they don't want to work here. It's just that simple. I'm not keeping them out, but I'm not making any special privileges for them to come in either."
Yeah, and I think that should basically be done for everything, including monuments, possibly.
Yes.
Listen to the previous part of the show to get our actual opinions on that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here. Be sure to email us if you have any opinions. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. Listen to the show. Spread it around. You'll be able to see us next week. Have a nice day. Being atheist is cool. We promise.